Some of you, yes. For the most of us, our computer is just a form of pastime. But for some people, online gaming addiction is an actual serious addiction, often being referred to as something as strong as heroin. Today, what we see here is actually several young men, or so it seems. This is actually a picture of the same young man. This young man was engrossed into the world of Warcraft. After only 18 months, he dropped out of school, developed bad skin, and gained only 75 pounds. As you can see, he started as a pretty attractive, young, athletic guy, and kind of developed into a couch potato. And what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about some of the social effects of online gaming, some of the mental and physical effects of online gaming, and how to detect if you have an online gaming problem and who is susceptible. People demand that their entertainment become more advanced as our technology changes. After a long, hard day, more and more people are turning to video games as an outlet as opposed to television or even watching or even reading a book. Video games provide an escape into a virtual world where you can forget about everything that is happening in real life and just enjoy yourself. People no longer have to be themselves. They can get lost in a world of anonymity. This often comes with a cost. It's becoming increasingly common that both the social aspect of gaming and the gamer's social skills themselves are slowly degrading. As online gaming becomes more widespread, one of the dangers that our society faces with online gaming is the ability for these virtual worlds to literally suck people and engross them into these virtual worlds for hours, sometimes even days at a time. An example of this engrossing virtual world is WoW, World of Warcraft, also known as WoW. A lot of people in this room have probably heard of WoW. Maybe they haven't necessarily played the game, but it is a growing addiction. There's over 12 million players currently. WoW has its own politics, its own economy, and its own jobs. People can often get engrossed into this world for hours upon hours of time. Lastly, perhaps the most telling social problems with online gaming is the way that people alienate their social surroundings and cause essential social skills to become lost. When in a fantasy world, people are become more powerful and more respected, but often when faced with real life problems, they fumble for the words. Now that we have discussed some of the social aspects of addiction, let's cover some of the mental and physical effects. Despite the fact that most gaming is a fun pastime for most of us, there are many who take online gaming very seriously. Gaming addiction can be thought of as time spent on the computer, playing video games, or cruising the internet. But when it reaches a point of disruption in an individual's natural reality, there's a problem. A player's perception of life can be greatly altered due to the expanding networks of virtual communities. The virtual world, in a way, becomes reality, in which relationships and emotional stimulation become inseparable. For some, this disembodiment from the real world becomes so out of hand that it harms social relationships. The game replaces friends and family, like other addictions, and is the source of a person's emotional life. Eventually, online gaming can take its toll, causing a complete withdrawal into the artificial world. Over long term, physical damage can take place. Some physical damages from online gaming can be from repetitive use of your mouse or your keyboard. You can suffer from carpal tunnel, or what are called repetitive stress injuries to your wrist. You can experience back problems from long hours sitting in the computer chair. Sleep loss from hours on end of playing the game. And the sleep loss can cause, of course, drowsiness. It can cause loss of concentration, and it can also affect your immune system. And of course, one of the greatest risks of excessive online gaming would be weight gain. And the weight gain obviously can lead to obesity, and this is caused from several hours of sitting idly at a computer. Not to mention, people are drinking endless Powerades and Red Bulls to stay awake so they can keep playing, and of course, those drinks are filled with sugar. As you can see, eventually the consequences of gaming addiction can ripple through a user's life. Now I'd like to go over why people have this problem and how to detect if you possibly have this problem and who is at risk. What actually is addiction? Is it genetic? How do you get addicted? Webster's Concise Dictionary defines addiction as a habit so strong that one cannot give it up. Online gaming has been linked to substance addictions in the fact that it has some of the same characteristics. Research has shown a possible source of addiction as a result of a chemical imbalance involving the neurotransmitter dopamine. Dopamine, being the most important neurotransmitter, deals with the control of human movement, attention, and the ability to experience pleasure, stress, and excitement. According to Elizabeth Henderson, author of Understanding Addictions, the sensation that excessive dopamine brings becomes a substitute for human pleasure, excitement, causing people to crave and need this activity in order to relax. So how do you detect if you have a problem? When you're sitting at your computer, do you lose track of time? Are you having trouble completing tasks, simple tasks such as going to work or your school, or even possibly taking care of your child? Are you isolating yourself from friends and family? Are you feeling guilty or defensive about too much time spent on the internet? So gaming addiction may not be like heroin, but now, I'm sorry, I skipped a spot. Some of the people who are the most susceptible to online gaming are people who suffer from anxiety, people who are depressed, people who suffer from other addictions, if you lack social support, teenagers who might not quite be comfortable in real life experiences yet, and the one that I find most important is if you have less mobility or socially active, as we're finding that more and more housewives are actually playing games like World of Warcraft because they used to be out in the workforce and now they're staying at home with their babies and they're looking for that social interaction that they experienced at work. So gaming may not be like heroin, but now I've informed you of some real and serious consequences that it can have in a person's life. Personally, I'm a big fan of my computer. I love my computer. I love getting on Facebook and playing the little games and applications. However, I don't spend hours doing so. So to my fellow classmates sitting there white-knuckled, can't wait to get home and get on their computer, I say to you this: I'm the first speaker of the day. You have many more speeches to sit through, so relax.